in the morning, fever all through the night.
Ellen, why are you gonna sing that?
Fever, it's one of my favorite songs.
Fever.
In the morning.
Nobody has a 3D. Felicity Hafianyo is joining us on the phone line now. Felicity, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Johnny. I'm better today than yesterday.
Is the weather giving you fever too?
Yes, you know, this is the season now, so.
What do we expect today? What should we expect today?
Yeah, today we expect cloudy weather this morning with light rain or drizzle over the coastal strip. That's Greater Accra, Central, Western, and parts of Western North. There is a time that we're having cloudy weather. We'll be having patches of that light rain or drizzle. So if it's raining in Addisa Way, GBC will be free. And then if it's raining in airport, main Pastem will also be free. So it will just be patch over the country. For the north, we expect it to be partly cloudy today. And then we are expecting some rainstorm that will move over Burkina Faso. And it's likely to induce cloudiness and then some possible thunderstorms with rain over the upper east, upper west, northeastern part of the northern region. But in that regard, we'll be updating the public via our afternoon and then the evening weather. In terms of temperatures, we expect it to range between 28 and 31 across the 16 region, with the coolest over the coastal part of the forest belt. And then, as usual, there is the time that we'll be having widespread mist and fog patches.
Right.
So drivers will be using the road at dawn.
Traditional leaders who are kakis. After this conference, let us address the kakistocracy in our public service. They know how to win election. They are connected to power and influence. They have money. So even in church, if you are having election, they can go around, dash money. They will win, but they are not your best. They are the least competent.
They will win, but they are not the best. It takes us to who's up there on the ballot sheet for the New Patriotic Party. They're looking for a flag bearer 10 people have put themselves up for that particular, position. But of the 10, how were they arranged? In what order did they come, or have they come? And what's going to happen? Kennedy Ohinia Japan, who is the member of parliament for the Asin Central constituency, is number 1. Alan John Kojo Tremanting is number 2, aka Alan Cash. Joe Gatti, the real man, who's also been a long-standing lawyer. He's been at this for maybe 3 times already. He's there. He's from the MP for Sikado Ketan. Kojo Poku in Safwa is an energy analyst who's been speaking to us, Insta PR. Dr. Freya Koto, former member of parliament. He is also the Agric minister, immediate past. There's also Engineer Kwabena J. Japan, who's been General Secretary of the NPP. He has also been a spokesperson for the Kufuor government. He's also been a campaign manager for the Akufo-Addo campaign when he was seeking to be president. And then there's Engineer Francis Adai Nimo. He's also a well-known face within the NPP. There's Kofi Konedu Apreko, former Minister for Trade, former Minister in charge of NEPAD, and he wants to be president at this juncture, or shall I say at this junction. There's also Kwabena Boache Jako, right? And you remember Boache Jako from the press conferences preceding the 2016 election, broken promises, and you would also remember him as your energy minister who was kicked out. He said he was told to resign. By who, he did not say, but obviously he talks about a story of being sidelined. And then there is Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. He is the Vice President of the Republic, former Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, the head of the Economic Management Team. So these are the 10. Obviously, the MPP has the men, don't they, Ellen?
Very interesting, this development. Well, we live to see. It's on the agenda, and I'm very curious to hear all of the analysis that's surrounding the list, the placement. Already on social media, people have their slogans ready.
Absolutely.
Some ideas of music that they think the candidates should even use based on their placements. Yeah. It's interesting.
Well, the front pages this morning, the Daily Graphic says GPAC celebrates Golden Jubilee, Black Flies invade Lanquantana and Dawinya, and some George has had cause to write about it. I've also received some worrying messages there. People say it's painful. Beth Asphyxia, 50,000 babies die annually. Ghana Health Service submits report today. Deputy Minister directs at Disco Management. The Daily Guide says Standard Chartered Port says strong income growth. Baumia picks 10. Alan 2 for MPP conference. Cecilia, $1 million scandal. 800,000 in a box for my brother. So it's no longer a funeral donation. Produce report on bullying students. Reverend Intim Fojo is Deputy Education Minister. And the Business Finder says 7,500 jobs to be available from 2 community mining schemes. Israel, Ghana must raise levels of investment, and SHEP to hold Made in Africa Women and Children Conference.
All right, the Ghanaian Times this morning. Childhood immunization program. Newborns to receive hepatitis B vaccines within 24 hours of birth beginning next year. I think that's great news. But as adults as well, you can get a hepatitis B vaccine. I don't know if many people are aware of that.
A, B, and C.
And C, actually, you can get the vaccines so that you can prevent infection.
It's given in two or three doses.
Something like that. The first one, second one in about 6 months, and then you get the subsequent ones. So avail yourself. You can help yourself against Hep A, B, and C. Standard Chartered Bank posts strong financial performance in 2022 despite the impact of DDEP. Government invests $154 million in 13th African Games facilities. Kennedy Japan picks first position for August 26 NPP special delegates voting. The business analyst this morning has this to say: be bold and condemn attacks on press freedom. GJA president to the executive and parliament. Let's serve with integrity, Bagman tells politicians. will strengthen AML CFT regime to fight cross-border financial crime. And that's coming from the Bank of Ghana. You've got the governor pictured on the front page as well. National Development Conference. Let's create a hostile environment for corruption. I'll tell you who is charging Ghanaians on that cause. And finally, the Anchor newspaper. Patients stranded at OPDs. Doctors are overwhelmed as physician assistant strike bites. Anesthesists are to follow. And these are the specialists who administer anesthesia. Yes, they say they are also going to follow. And you've got a picture here. Check it out, gentlemen.
You know,
stranded patients.
You know, the anesthetics, the PAs, and all of that. We only focus on sometimes the doctors and the nurses, but a lot of people, professionals within the value chain in the health sector,
correct,
who are not very well taken care of. I remember that the anesthetics, they went on strike sometime in January 2022.
Yeah,
remember that they, along
that.
with CTAG, where 6 unions went on strike. They were part of that block. I get disturbed when such key issues that affect the masses are not dealt with once and for all, but we do touch and go. For example, what we did with the buffer stock, food supplies, we did half payment, touch and go. If they don't complain again and picket and maybe strike, they may not get the other half of their money.
That's right.
And that's been our practice. We never are able to completely deal with the situation. We always do touch and go, touch and go. And this matter has lingered for a long time. The PAs are complaining, for example, that you're going to implement a new law or you've taken a new bill to Parliament, which concerns our work. But we have not been consulted. We have not had an input in what the bill looks like. And we have not even been engaged. How?
Well, a few more on the front page.
Samuel.
Good morning, Samuel. So 9,500 jobs for Amancia West residents as 3 community mining schemes take off. Bilsa South potable water issues resolved. Residents commend MP and emulate a spirit of nationalism. William will like this one. It's coming from the chief of Dompim Pepesa.
Dompim Pepesa.
Yes.
And that's where
he has
he had
ties.
his service.
That's where he did his national
Dompim
service.
Pepesa. Well, somebody just sent me a message. Philip Abochi in Keta says, good morning to the listeners. Workers are going through a difficult moment in various institutions. Almost all the government institutions in the Volta region don't have resources to work with, and the directors have refused to talk because the government is not treating the directors well. Ghanaians will boot out the government in the coming days. Well, Philip is waiting for the next election, and that's where I may disagree with Philip, that we don't need to wait until the next election. You speak up, you engage, you consult, and you demand for what is right. I mean, if we're waiting for the next election, GIHOC could have collapsed by the time we wait for the next election. Then it will no longer be 17 state-owned enterprises being on the way to be liquidated.
Yeah,
we'll
but
have 18.
I think he is operating within his limit. So for him to even be able to send us a message this morning to Johnny Hughes, he knows that when this message gets to Johnny Hughes on Red FM, it will go far. You understand? So wherever you are, you just play your part. You know, say something when you see something. When something is going wrong, be bold to speak up. You know, that is what you have.
You see, if we give the politicians the indication that, okay, we will wait until the next election, they may as well misbehave, mess up everything. After the next election, things will have been so messed up that we have to recalibrate and begin from wherever they messed it. And we've seen it in many different, I mean, many different phases. Look, I'm using, and I'm passionate about GIHOC because you have people there who talk to you and tell you, number one, there are no jobs. Number two, this is the only job we have. Number three, if the place collapses, we will not find jobs immediately because of the IMF situation and what have you. That means that for us, our families and those who depend on us, we will be in a mess.
No, you see, Johnny.
Then they are looking also at
the collapse of GIHOC.
They are also looking at
the collapse of one district, one factory.
They are also looking at the expansion, which could rope in a lot more people. So they are not just thinking about today; they are thinking about the larger picture. Now, if that place is allowed to collapse and they all keep quiet, because as it stands now, they are all afraid to speak. I speak to a lot of staff at Georg. They are afraid to speak up because the last time they tried to demonstrate, they brought policemen for them.
You know, Johnny,
From Kaneshi police station. So
Which
yes,
of
the
us
culture of things is crazy.
It's here. Be bold and condemn attacks on press freedom. Be bold and condemn the way politicians are, mismanaging the country. Be bold and speak up when you see evil being perpetrated. You see, there's this saying, my former, the late Paris Passo.
Paris Passo, GIJ.
GIJ. He was my vice president.
The short Paris Passo.
Yes, he said potent medicines are found in smaller bottles. And one of his saying is that the worst place in hell will be reserved for those who saw evil being done and never spoke about it.
Paris Passo.
So I think that it is important that we speak. Beyond the speaking, there are those who can also initiate steps to seek redress in the court of law. There are layers of advocacy. So you speak, some will pick it up, some will act on it, and then you definitely get to a point where we will find answers to the problems. Yeah.
But I agree with Johnny completely, and I see that sentiment often expressed online that we don't have to wait up until elections.
No.
Otherwise, it sets a dangerous. Yes, I agree with that. So you hear a lot of our contributors and callers who help us analyze the discussions, and they'll say, well, in 2024, but prior to that, whilst we're in the soup and it's boiling hot and it's scalding, what can we do to ease the pressure? I think that's what the ordinary Ghanaian also wants to know. What can I do as Amasewa, Kofi Babone in my own small corner to help the situation? Because people are speaking, it seems as though they are talking into a void. You try and plan a demonstration, the police want to reroute you as to where to go. They want to determine how you even express yourself.
Sometimes even go to get an injunction.
To
prevent you from demonstrating.
So I think the ordinary Ghanaian wants to know, beyond the talking and the speaking that we've done, what else can we do? I just like to remind all our listeners every day that no party comes into government as an NGO.
No.
They are using our money. They are merely custodians
That's
of the
right.
minerals. Anything you find on this land,
Fantastic.
it's for all of us.
Fantastic.
It doesn't belong to Akufo-Addo. It doesn't belong to NDC, NPP, any minister or MP. It's for all of us. If something is being mismanaged, it's for you. You have a major stake. You are a major stakeholder in everything that is going on. It affects you directly. So this morning, that's our charge to you. See something, say something. That goes beyond security issues. Whatever you are seeing in your own small corner, speak up. We can't wait until every 4 years to make a decision to change our fortunes. That can't be the case.
The other thing, William, good morning. The other leg of the conversation for me is when you decide to speak up, the challenges that come along with speaking up. Senor Hosi recently, Independent Bondholders Association, I mean, he's been in petroleum for a long time. A lot of people thought that his money was part of what he was fighting for on behalf of the bondholders. It turns out that he didn't even have anything in there. So he was just doing a social, activist work, middle class kind of, because when the middle class crumbles, the whole economy crumbles. Now, even him, people have had cause to call him, as popular as he is, as powerful as he may be, as very connected as it may be. People called him to say, Senor, you have to be careful. These people will come for you. People told him that. And he confirmed that it ruined his businesses. So he has had to even apologize to his business partners, all right? His business partners, because he was doing this on his own, on behalf of the masses. But his business partners who had nothing to do with this have had to suffer the brunt for it. I sit in here speaking every morning. I've had my businesses affected too. Because that's how petty we are. So yes, you speak up, and that's why a lot of people don't speak up. People will meet you on the corners and tell you things. You'll be amazed. Wow, you know all of this, and you're not speaking up. You're not writing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You are not. They say, boss, if I say it, I'll be in trouble.
Be victimized.
So
When they say something, you see something.
Yes. So what kind of democracy is
And
this?
it permeates everything. Look at schools. Head teachers, headmasters are afraid to speak up lest they are victimized. And that affects our students. We cannot.
Are not even speaking.
We cannot. We cannot carry on.
Because our system, we don't have midterm elections.
Yes.
If we don't have midterm elections and we are going the 4-year term, what the leadership of the state must do is that they should be bold enough to reshuffle. Because if you give somebody a ministerial portfolio and the person is not performing and you also don't reshuffle, you create a certain perception in the eyes of the public that you are not ready to work. And that's why we're calling on the president those days and these days, that they should reshuffle the non-performing.
And the days to come.
Yes, those days, these days, and the days ahead. They should reshuffle because we don't have any way to get rid of your government. Elsewhere, after 2 years, you go for midterm elections, some MPs will lose their jobs and so on and so forth. But we don't have that here. So the only option is for you to reshuffle and make us understand and appreciate the fact that you want the work to be done. You say you were in a hurry, so that those who are not running with you, like the way the Roads and Highways minister was, then they are in a hurry.
In a hurry.
They are not, the ministers who are not in a hurry, you should fire them. And that has not happened. And that's why we are here.
Yeah.
Because there are some ministers. Look, yesterday I heard a deputy minister's name for the first time.
Okay, seriously,
And she's moving from
one ministry to another.
Seriously, as for deputy ministers,
Don't go there.
And the ministers.
If you have a minister who doesn't want you to have that space to operate, my sister, my brother,
There are some ministries.
you'll be in the
We don't
shadows.
hear of the whole ministry
Yes.
and the minister for 8 years.
Yes.
William,
There
was a day I was having I had a conversation with a governance expert, and then when I started mentioning some of the ministries and the ministers and the deputies, they said, have they always been there? I say yes.
Yes.
Some of them just take their position and go and relax kulem.
Yes.
I mean, if you have a ministry, so there's ministry for trade and industry, then you have a minister, one deputy in charge of trade, one deputy in charge of industry, and they have 3 deputies. What would the 3rd deputy be doing?
Signing papers.
You get the confusion. So
Yeah.
that 3rd deputy is always on my side, either going to represent minister to catch a ribbon, going to read a speech. That's all.
That's it.
That's all. At some point, even at the information ministry, had 3 deputies, right?
That's right.
Trade ministry had 3 deputies. So then you ask yourself, what exactly are they doing?
As we sit here, we have a minister responsible for public enterprises.
Yes, Kujo.
I mean, public enterprises.
And Georg is rotting away.
Oh, Masa, Georg will come under the Ministry of Trade. Is that not?
Yes.
Yes.
And then SIGA. There's even the state interest accountability.
Whatever.
Hey.
State
Yes.
interest
Which one is
governance.
that one?
No, you didn't
That's
know.
where Asabi came
State
from.
interest
Before.
governance accountability.
Oh,
Yes,
I see
authority.
that.
Sorry.
We are wasting the money.
State interest governance authority.
We sit here
Is-
and we have a minister for public sector.
It's being led by what do you call it, Ambassador Boatin, formerly
Yes,
of
Ghana's High
yes, to China.
Ambassador to China.
yes, China and all of that.
Asabi used to be there
Yes,
before he came
Asabi. In fact, Asabi was the one who converted it
Yes.
into SIGA.
And before Asabi came to the chieftaincy ministry, nobody even knew the minister until the minister fell sick and had to resign. Quite frankly,
No,
I was asking my colleagues,
It's
even
chieftaincy and religious affairs. Let's keep the nomenclature the way it is.
But we realized
We want
that
to beg you.
when we started having this portfolio as Minister for Procurement, that is when we started having serious
Procurement
challenges.
issues.
Corruption.
Because the minister who was put there, was she a procurement expert? That's what the Osofo is talking about.
Well, maybe the law that she did, she
Yeah, it was a
specialized in
procurement
that
law.
area. I suspect
Yes,
so.
yeah,
I'm sure that's why they put it
that
there.
was
But
for the
that was the reason.
Yes.
Boss, but
That was the reason.
But then, did we get the benefit?
Oh,
of-
that is another
Because
discussion.
we've heard about breaches, and as a ministry,
Plenty.
they should be the busiest ministry, giving us
no.
figures, giving us facts, giving us statements.
saving
National
us money.
Cathedral procurement, they could spend a whole week educating us, sending out. Let us know what is the policy. Has something changed?
Government business goes under a certain ministry. Every government business. So why do we have a special minister for public sector?
Yeah.
Chief, it's a serious matter. Oh.
Yeah.
And
Public
for 4
sector.
years, you reshuffle. Yesterday we had some small reshuffling because of the 1 million.
Yeah.
Reshuffling
No,
there.
no, but that even that was not reshuffle. Now it's
American is there.
now it's Achiaya.
They moved. It's
Achiaya
reshuffle.
is Achiaya.
No, I mean
You know, in the trotro back in the day, where they had a long seat, Obi Sia.
Yeah.
Now Obi like Achiaya.
Look, the
we are
pressure.
we are repositioning.
The pressure that MPP gave NDC when they were in opposition and the media. Now, if you speak against the MPP, you have a problem.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I saw a clip of
you actually
Honorable
put in-
Esla Owusu Ekufu. And the way she addressed the $1 million Baby
yes,
Hama
yes,
issue.
Victor Hama issue. Yeah.
What we are calling for today, she said the same thing. But today, if you go to her to interview her, for her to react to her own
Boss,
colleague,
you- boss, you-
somebody's dream for 1 million became an issue.
And somebody's
Reality.
Reality. I mean, now they are investigating, so we can't say much.
Yeah.
Even this morning, I'm reading on the back front page of the Chronicle that there's been some theft of some plenty money from
a presidential staffer.
the trunk. Is it the trunk? As
Yes, I saw that.
That's trunk too. That trunk is
The 800,000.
It's American English. If you say trunk, it's as if students trunk.
It's portmanteau
now
or
we speak standard.
You know,
portmanteau
so
or-
and this is another presidential staffer. That matter has to, you know, so
$114,000
$1,000 and euros. And the Bank of Ghana governor is crying about how the foreign exchange or foreign currencies are being handled in the system, and now all the big ones are being found in the hands of politically exposed individuals. So what are we doing about this?
So this individual is on Appendix 5.0 as list of senior presidential staffers presented to Parliament as at 31st December 2022. Her name is Miss Hamida Nuhu, presidential staffer. Now, an amount of $114,000 $800 euros, and other huge sums of money stolen from a lawyer's residence. And I like how they capture our CDs and other. Yeah. So it's just like you going to commit a crime with the child of a rich man, and they say, oh, William Asiedu, son of Ambassador Asiedu, and others. Or say, yeah, you can't know there.
Or there's a big concert. They said. Sakud Shatawale
And others.
Yeah.
You know what?
That's how they treat our CD now, and others.
I have a fear, and I fear for the lives of these appointees.
That
Now they've been exposed. People now have realized that they are sitting on the dollars and the gold chains and those stuff. So they have to be careful, extra careful. Seriously speaking, because
you have a point there.
Very strong point.
There's okay. How many security men do you have? You have maximum 3 police officers. 20 boys can rush you. So there's this song by Culture. It says, "Share your riches with the poor before they share their poverty with you."
Well, Reverend Istudadama said it. He said that don't hoard money when people are hungry. They didn't listen because they don't like those sermons. Yeah, those